welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We're back in the kitchen today with another canning tutorial. This time we're doing green tomato salsa. So we had a pretty big change in our food preservation plan this year because of what happened out in the garden, and let me show you what happened real quick. Okay y'all, here is the reason why we are making green tomato stuff. We had 60-mile-per-hour winds 2 weeks ago, and then a few days ago we had 80-mile-per-hour winds. Not tornado, just like straight line winds, and it just blew over these tomatoes. Some over here are completely blown over, and you know how you can bend a stick and you can bend it so much and it won't snap, but then if you try to bend it the opposite direction it will snap? Sometimes I'm kind of thinking that that's might be what's going to happen here. So I'm not going to bother trying to set these back up. There are plenty of products that we can make with green tomatoes. A delicious salsa, a mock apple pie filling, and I can use them to stretch in my spaghetti sauce as well, mixing with ripe tomatoes. So we are going to go ahead and pull all these out and make some green tomato products. So we were thrown a curveball and we're gonna swing at it anyway and give it a try with green tomato salsa. I made it a couple years ago. I was out of lime juice when I made it, and I made it with pineapple juice instead, and it was good. We only have 2 pints left, so we ate it, but it wasn't the greatest. Lime juice is where it's at. So this year I got my lime juice, I got my cilantro, and we are making a true green tomato salsa. Let's get started. Step 1, we need to get our tomatoes cored. After we core all those green tomatoes, it's time to chop them up. I just use my food processor back here. This is a ball canning recipe, and I am tripling it to hopefully get 20 to 24 pints. So this is a triple batch of this recipe. For a triple batch, we need 21 cups of finely chopped green tomatoes. We need 15 peppers, like bell peppers, finely chopped. I don't have any fresh bell peppers, but what I do have is chopped, minced, dried bell peppers. And 1 tablespoon of dried bell peppers is equal to approximately 1 bell pepper. So if we need 15 peppers, that means I need 15 tablespoons of green bell peppers or red bell peppers. And that equates to just shy of 1 cup. So I'm going to put just shy of 1 cup. And that's going to be our peppers. Next, we need 6 cups of finely chopped red onion. Next, we need 6 cloves of garlic. Next, we need 1½ cups of lime juice. And because I am using those dehydrated bell peppers instead of fresh, I'm going to do a little bit extra of the lime juice to help offset the rehydration that's going to need to happen with those peppers. So 1½ and then I'm going to go about 3/4 to provide extra fluid for those peppers to rehydrate in. Now we'll just give that a good stir. We do still have cilantro and seasonings to add to this, but we need to bring this mixture up to a boil before we add our cilantro and seasonings. So this is going to go on the stove top. I'm going to put it on high heat and bring it to a boil, and we'll be back for the next step. While our mixture is boiling over here, we need to go ahead and prepare our canner. So I've filled my water bath canner halfway with water. I'm going to be using a canning basket today, so I'm going to put my canning basket in. Sometimes I heat my jars in my canner water, but today I went ahead and cleaned my jars in the dishwasher, and I ran it on the heat cycle, and it just now finished, and I'm just going to leave it in that dishwasher. I'm not going to open the door, and those jars are going to stay nice and hot when it comes time to load them. So I'm going to turn my canner water on medium-high because we are only about probably 10 to 15 minutes away from loading our jar. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on high heat and bringing that up to a almost boil, low boil. Our salsa mixture is boiling, so we're going to add the rest of the ingredients, which is 1.5 cups of fresh chopped cilantro. Three teaspoons oregano. This is dried oregano. 3 teaspoons salt. And 3 teaspoons pepper. We don't like our salsa too terribly spicy, so I'm going to do just 2 teaspoons instead of 3. The recipe calls for 6 teaspoons of cumin. I'm going to do 5 because cumin is a very strong flavor, and I have young children that don't really appreciate that strong flavor. And 5. Now we'll give that a good stir and turn it down from boiling to a simmer. I'll go ahead and turn my heat down. And we are going to simmer this for 5 minutes. Our salsa is done simmering, and I just took out my jars out of the dishwasher. They're still hot. And now we're just going to fill our jars to 1/2 inch headspace. 1/2 inch headspace, ooh, it's hot, is approximately right here. Next, I'm going to get a spoon and just kind of even out my salsa, make sure I don't have more than 1/2 inch of headspace right before I bubble, because I overfilled some of these. So I'm just going to take out any ones that are overfilled so I don't make a mess when I debubble. Okay, next step, we're going to take our debubble tool and we are just going to spin it around the jar, popping any air bubbles, getting out as many air bubbles as possible. Now I'm going to go through and make sure that I'm still at 1/2 inch headspace. This is the step where I'm really going to be making sure that I'm not going over the 1/2 inch headspace mark. And we're looking good. I'm getting down at eye level, looking real good. Okay, we're good. Next step, we need to wipe our rims. This is to get off any food residue that may have dripped onto the rims, and that could affect our lid from getting a good seal. It could prevent our lid from getting a good seal if there's any food trapped on the rims. Next step, we need new and clean lids. I'm just going to place them on. Next, we'll screw on our rings to fingertip tight, which means to the point of resistance and a 1/4 turn more. And into the canner they go. My canner holds 8 pints, so I'm going to be doing these in batches of 8. Gently lower the jars in. Next, I'm going to make sure that I have at least an inch of water submerged over these jars, and I have about 2 inches, so that's good. I'm going to turn it up to high heat, put my lid on. Now we're going to wait until this water comes up to a rolling boil, a hard rolling boil, before we start the processing time, and these pints need to process for 20 minutes. Our 20 minutes is up, so it's time to take them out. And this is what the finished product looks like. It is absolutely delicious. We have a video on 4 things to do post canning, and I will link that above. Hope y'all enjoy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.